All right, so
It keeps freezing and crashing in the opening
little
cuts.
story before we start tonight. You know, little story for you guys.
So the
So-
story about how much you hate people?
No, it's a story about how I continue to impress myself with my sheer competently incompetence when it comes to tech. So I had been investigating my issue very thoroughly, very thorough investigation of my issue, right? As to why my mic would suddenly cut out sometimes, but only for you guys, and why your audio would cut out sometimes, but only for me. Stuff like that. And so when I was digging in the NVIDIA control panel settings, I noticed that all of my monitors were set to 1/10 color scale. And I have been playing on washed out color monitors for so long because of this, that when I switched them both to full color, because they both support full color, I instantly could tell the difference. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? I have been playing for the past 8 years on these monitors without ever knowing that they were in 1/10 color mode.
Without ever knowing that you were a fucking moron who didn't read the basic manual.
This does not surprise me.
Amazing.
Not in a good way.
Not in a good way, no. So, anyway. Hello, Internet! This is Fanfiction Attempt Theater 9004, episode 18, brought to you by SneakyDevil. That's right, I am funding this whole thing. We have no sponsors. Yet.
And we probably won't with the people you keep letting on the podcast.
Thanks to Raid Shadow Legends. Just
You know what? We might get one from them.
we might. You know, it'd be like $50 though.
Yeah, but that's... listen, that's not bad. That's still money coming into our pockets.
Exactly. But, you know, I would stop letting people on if we actually had people that would show up. It's a really vicious cycle. But, we can, however, pinpoint all of this back to the days where we did have lots of people show up, and those people didn't come on, and then those people still didn't come on, and suddenly all the people stopped showing up. And so that's why I kind of just said, fuck it. Because
it probably wasn't helped that there were a number of changes in all three of our personal lives that kind of fucked up all the scheduling around the podcast that we were used to.
Yes.
I mean, sure, I guess so, but even then, you know, we were getting like a solid 45 people active.
30 to 45 active on watching, at least. Not necessarily in the chat, but watching.
Yeah,
Yes.
watching. And we would get like, I remember we had like 15 people. I got the achievement for 15 people talking in chat. And then, you know, the viewage on some of these older streams would be like, you know, 90 plus people watching it. So, you know, clearly we had the numbers, but then suddenly Twitch made some changes, made some tweaks. We didn't show no titty, so we got no views. And that's just life, kids. But, you know, let's get into it tonight. Open up a new tab here. Slap-a-dap our newest story in.
Okay.
I would say, now remember, kids, the lesson here is Sneaky should have gotten a boob job.
Yep.
People pay good money for that.
Yeah, totally. Not at all. So I think, because it's going to be the three of us tonight, that we should start with, you know, a Fate Stay Night story, since we all know Fate Stay Night pretty well, right?
Two of us do. One of us knows Apocrypha.
Fair enough.
I don't even know if Atin fully knows Apocrypha. I think he just like the shiny lights.
You listen here. That is true. But I do understand at least sort of what's going on.
Alrighty then. So this story, the first story of the night. So I also, by the by, I have my vodka and tequila ready to make tequiladka, just in case I need to just wipe the hard drive of whatever we read tonight.
That sounds like a horrible idea.
What, drinking tequila?
Yeah. You probably shouldn't do that.
Yeah,
Probably not.
I would recommend not doing that.
I'm gonna do it. Speaking of things that are recommended bad ideas, another little story is, so at work today, our heat exchanger broke on the gas furnace.
Get fucked.
Sounds like a personal problem, bitch.
Yeah, it is a little bit
Bring
of
a jacket.
A little bit of a problem. For not me, of course, because, cold down here is basically balmy up in Vermont.
Yeah, well, and to be fair, you also like living in as close to freezing temperatures as possible.
This is also true. So I barely noticed it. Now, however, it is not to say my coworkers did not have issues. And their solutions to those issues were quite odd. But anyway, so the heating guys finally come over and look at the furnace to see what's up with it. And as it turns out, yeah, the heat exchanger is cracked. Just a big old fucking crack down the entire exchanger. Which is a big OS problem. Like, completely replace the heater problem. Like, $9,000 problem.
Oof.
And, yeah.
One of the things, see, meanwhile, we have the opposite problem in the purchasing department because our office technically used to be part of a different office, and they just put up drywall. So there's not any actual,
Heaters.
duct work. Well, no, heat isn't the issue. The issue is that the people who had the other side of the office have an external wall, and they have a dock that they have to keep open to receive stuff sometimes.
Yes, I can see where this is going.
So they crank that.
Yeah.
Super, super hard.
Yeah.
But we don't have AC or any kind of venting. So we had to buy a portable air conditioner in the winter. And we're all wearing short sleeves. So we don't die.
But yeah, so with that being said, the boss was notably irritated with the existence of this issue and instructed me to just override the flare-up sensors and continue using the heater.
That sounds like a bad idea.
It is. It very much is.
Yes, flare-ups occur. So the heating guy was like, okay, well, if he wants you to do this, I'm already disclaiming all responsibility here, just letting you know all of the information. The flare-ups are caused by carbon monoxide escaping from the exchange unit. I'm just like, I really already don't like where this is going.
We're all gonna die from carbon monoxide poisoning, baby.
And so as he's pointing everything out, he's like, all right, you gotta press this button here and this button here, and you have to flip off the emergency switch. And as he's explaining all this to me, I'm like, all right. The whole thing shuts down. He's like, oh, what happened from there? So he's looking around and he's like, yes, this sensor here just went off. I'm like, what's that sensor? He's like, that's the overheat sensor. That means critical parts are about to melt.
Yeah.
And you should let them.
You should listen to that, man.
You can't overwrite that one.
Well. Okay. Let's do one thing straight here, Sneaky.
You can.
If he knows what he's doing, he could.
Yes.
Legally, he really shouldn't.
Legally, it's a terrible idea. Even more than the last thing was a terrible idea.
And I'm like, I see. So, what should I do then? And he's like, well, my personal recommendation is to leave the machine off. I'm like, that is a good recommendation. I like that recommendation.
Please tell me the boss came in and yelled at you for not turning it back on.
No. I sent him a message and he never responded to it. But he wanted to get a quote. Regardless, he ended up getting messaged by the heater guy, and the heater guy told him what's going on as well, and was like, "Yeah, you should just replace it all, because otherwise we're gonna have to come in here and replace it later as well, and it's gonna be even more expensive if you wait." And so I'm just like, "Oh boy." I can only hope, for my own ears' sake, that it gets a little bit warmer down here, because I'm so tired of hearing their bitching already. It's so cold. Then wear
The
shoes.
human beings are cold.
Like literally, like fucking heeled shoes and like the thin wraparound, hyper thin shirts and shit like that. It's like, well, first off, have you tried wearing actual shirts? Second off, put your jacket on. Third off, have you tried wearing actual shoes instead of decorative socks? You know, have you tried wearing wool? Thinking about it, why have I never seen the protagonist of Persona 5 summoned into a Holy Grail war? A shame, really. I don't think he'll like playing by the rules upon hearing the words Holy Grail. That's a fair point. I also don't think the Persona 5 protagonist would ever qualify as a hero. As per
He might qualify as an anti-hero.
Yeah, he'd be an anti-hero.
Yeah, but how many people know about him?
Well,
All of Japan.
at least I was gonna say, at least
At
as far as
least.
like the in-game universe goes,
Yeah.
a shit ton of people know about his alter ego.
Well, at the very least,
Hmm.
they know about the Phantom Thieves, and actually, you know what? They would probably be summoned as like an
Oh, he would
something
absolutely
similar to Jack the Ripper
Avenger.
or
Yeah,
the Hassan.
that's what I was gonna say. It would be probably a Hassan or Jack the Ripper situation. Yeah.
Yeah, like, oh, you summoned the Phantom Thief. You can call me, insert whichever character was actually summoned for that. Because I don't think their actual forms are ever seen. Like, maybe Joker's could have been seen because they went with his mask as their calling card, I think.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, Lupin would have a much higher chance of being summoned because it's Lupin. So,
What do you mean, Lupin?
the Master Thief Lupin III.
Oh, yes. I mean, I would much prefer that.
I really need to find those old stories. But yeah, but a silhouette isn't like a defining feature. That's why they would be more likely to have a Jack the Ripper situation or Hassan situation. Like, you just kind of luck of the draw which of the thieves happen to be summoned.
You got, congratulations, you
Oh.
lucked out and got best girl. Note, I'm gonna leave that blank and watch the comments catch fire.
I
Yeah,
was gonna
all
say,
one of them.
Yes.
it would be mildly amusing if any one of them could be summoned, but they all got Joker's body, because that's the only body known.
Oh. Or even worse, you get the cat.
The cat ends up in Joker's body.
Wow. I need you to stop. So anyway, this is Fate Stay Night, a pure Fate Stay Night story with no influence from any other series ever.
Uh-huh.
This is called
Sure.
Similar Ideas with Different Methods.
Uh-huh, sure.
The Yigda Millennia.
Alright, so we're jumping right to
All right.
Apocrypha.
Yep, okay. So, good news, Atin. Couldn't find the catalyst to summon Chiron, so they stole one of the Magus Association's catalysts. With that, they brought the King of Fakers.
That's... I'm sorry.
What?
I know that Igda Millennia has some like serious brass balls. They still took their time to make sure not to piss off the MAG Association until after the war started. They're not going to be brave enough to go and steal one of their catalysts. Just a thought.
Mm-hmm. Now, Max, I understand your opinion, but you have to consider this is being written by this author, and this author is probably going to write them as retarded.
And here's the thing. I know you don't like the whole anything can happen, whereas I'm like, yes, anything can happen. You just have to explain it well. He's going to have to pull a lot of shit out of his ass.
Right.
Or how they got away with this.
Or they could be so stupid they don't understand the danger. See, alternative solution to the same problem. Delicious.
You know, the biggest reason that this still wouldn't work out for them, though, is that all of them are aware that they were hiding from the Magus Association. I'm pretty sure that's, at least in the anime, I think that's explicitly said. It's like, yeah, we were real careful. And then we sent them an invite when we were getting near the start to stay in their good graces, relatively speaking.
Right. And so anyway,
But we absolutely pissed them off.
So they summoned the King of Fakers, which I don't think anyone's ever called Emiya that.
I don't wait, King of Fakers or King of Fakes? Because King of Fakes would make more sense than King of Fakers.
King of Fakers. They summoned Shiro.
Yeah, I should have gone with King of Fakes, because that is literally
so this is
what
really confusing for me. Why does the Mangus Association have a AU Shiro catalyst?
I don't know. Is it one of the cards or something? Is it one of Zelrich's experiments again?
I swear to God, if they fucking blame Zelrich. Yeah, so anyway, they steal one of the catalysts from the Magus Association, and that summons a post-Fate Stay Night Shiro. Okay.
Oh, not Archer Emiya.
Yeah.
Post Stay Night is...
Yeah.
Okay, is this supposed to be like Fate Stay Night the anime? Is it the Fate route?
I guess we're gonna figure this out. So anyway, there was a certain person who wants to save humanity, and now they brought the hero who wants to save everyone. Both are fated to fight each other for their dreams.
Both are fated to fight for their dreams. I don't know where you got the each other from.
Well, I mean, I'm just assuming that they have to fighting each other, because I don't know why you would say they're both fitted to fight for their dreams if they're on the same side.
Certain person wants to say another about.
That's like saying, in one corner, we have the King of Fakers, and in the other corner, we have a certain special someone, and they will fight, not each other. It's like, why did you give that intro then? Because! Like, you see what I mean, though? Like, there's...
Yes.
They literally gave that sort of intro, and they're just like, yeah, they're gonna fight. So it's gonna be a good assumption here that they're gonna fight each other for some apparent reason. We meet again, people!
If they're referring to Jean d'Arc, actually, no, that still wouldn't make sense. There's no reason for them to fight each other. Also, if it is Jean d'Arc he's referring to as one of them, she's not supposed to interfere unless they break the rules.
Mm-hmm.
And if this is post Fate Shiro and not Archer Emiya,
oh no,
odds of him breaking the rules are pretty low.
Oh no.
Oh no, what?
We meet again, people. I bring the prologue of one of the stories I thought up for King of Fakers. For people who are wondering who a King of Faker is, it's an original character I created.
Okay, alright, I'm gonna go dive into this madness. Wait, what?
Wow, that's a really original character. Look, it's like Emiya, but he's
And-
wearing one of his sleeves as a headscarf, and he's using 2 European swords instead.
Sneaky.
What?
That's Shiro's design in Prisma Ilia during.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Okay, so in the universe in Ilia where the cards are used for the Holy Grail War, that is almost the exact design that Shiro has when he accidentally installs Archer's card. Like,
I'm dying inside right now.
you should go. You should. Hang on. Let me go find it because it's also legit one of the better designs for Shiro. Let me see if I can find it.
Yeah. Maybe if it wasn't done with colored fucking pencil, in like the most 7th grade art tier
Yeah.
drawing, I would like it a
Yeah.
little bit more.
Yeah, Sneaky. Check the 9K chat. That is. Oof. Ooh. Mm,
Alright.
it's a bit too close. Oh, this was his first story was published in 2019, so yeah, there's a very good chance that he just ripped this off of Prisma Ilia and just recolored it to be
Poorly.
Emiya after he's fucked up his nerves. Okay, so apparently his name is Finn. And
Does he pilot an X-wing?
it doesn't look like it.
That's a shame.
Is he part shark?
I don't see anything here, and I'm not gonna be reading through that just for this right now. Maybe I'll read this later when I want some garbage to like critique, but as it stands, this writing at a glance isn't looking
Too
it's
hot?
not looking great.
Yeah. Alright, so its origin is explained in my original story, King of Fakers Saving Them All. I recommend you read that story so you understand this story. But
By
it's
the way,
not obligatory.
By the way, just some props to this author at least.
Yeah?
First story is 7 words or 7 chapters, 47,000 words. Yeah, 7 words. So if nothing else, his chapter count is pretty solid for what appears to be a first-time fan fiction writer.
Yeah. I'll give him that.
So kudos to him. Like I always aimed for 1,000 words at minimum, and that's usually where I stopped starting out. So
The title and summary of the story is actually a reference to the conflict of ideas between the King of Fakes and Akumasu Shiro.
oh, his first story is actually completed.
Yes, all of his stories are completed, it looks like.
Huh. Except for one.
I love this part right here. So in his fucking bio, right? Hello, people. Welcome to my profile. Yes, I am the author who created the original character, King of Fakers.
I like that he puts in quotation marks OC like he doesn't believe it himself.
And well,
Yeah, he
after
really did just
receiving
steal the
question-
Prisma Ilia thing.
After receiving the same question multiple times, that is, who the hell is the King of Fakers, I shall now leave a summary. That's not how you spell summary at all.
You can't tell him how to spell summary.
Yes, I can.
I mean, I can tell him how to spell lots of things. That doesn't mean I'm right, but... Or that he has to listen.
Yeah, I would say things, but that would probably get Twitch to ban us. It would be best if you read my story, King of Fakers Saving Them All. Even I, myself, admit that it could use a review to correct my poor grammar. He unironically says after completely butchering the word summary. Of course, if you've already read my stories, you can ignore this, obviously. Okay. This is for new people who haven't read my stories. Wow, author, I'm so glad you've elucidated that topic's multiple
Uh,
times now.
Yeah, weird flex, but all right, man. You do you.
As an avid consumer of fanfic who loves Fate, I always felt there was something. Wait, oh boy, here we go. We get the opinionated author who's using his soapbox to preach. All right. What are you preaching, author? As someone who loves the Fate franchise, there was always something wrong with every crossover.
Oh boy, wait. Hold on. Before we go any further, I feel we need to take bets on this.
No, I'm good.
I
In
don't
my
know.
opinion, it feels wrong when someone pairs the three original heroines, and that is to say, Saber, Rin, or Sakura, with anyone that is not Shiro, or Shiro with anyone that is not them. Okay. That's a
I mean,
really weird flex.
to be fair, Sneaky, that's a pretty common opinion between some fandoms of like there are certain pairings that are just kind of odd to break away from, like pairing Asuna with anyone that isn't Kirito is weird.
Oh, yeah, fair
And
enough.
it's like,
No, and I'm not disagreeing with him. I'm just saying that's like a really weird flex where he has to like get up on his soapbox and be like, every crossover has it wrong because Shiro does not fuck Rin. It's like, all right. I don't know why you need the soapbox for this one.
you do you, friend. I guess.
It's like, okay, buddy. Again, in my opinion, it feels weird when a Shiro that has gone through one of the routes of fate is not with the heroine he chose. Okay. That is when I decide to write story, why decided to create version of Shiro that doesn't have this problem.
So he admits that Finn is just
Shiro.
Shiro XP in all but name.
The result is the king of fakers, a quote-unquote Emiya Shiro that doesn't participate in the Holy Grail War. And because of this, there is no female hero. Okay.
What?
He
Hang on.
pursued his dreams and
No.
ideals alone. But the whole reason he was able to do that was because of the Holy Grail War. He died alone inside a hill of swords, but he unlocked his reality marble. Because Emiya unlocked his reality marble. Because he unlocked his reality marble. Because Emiya unlocked his reality marble. There's a fucking loop here. Do you see, author? But to make him different from Emiya, he actually succeeded in saving everyone.
Wait. No, hang on. Wait.
Okay. Woo! Alrighty then. You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna take a shot.
I don't think Sneaky, I don't think we're ready for this.
You are. I can't do. I can't do an Illidan voice. Sneaky, can you do Illidan?
Yeah, sure. Probably after this shot of tequila, I can.
Right. Take the shot and then do. You are not prepared.
Out of the way, gun. Tequila is. Oh, wow. Woo! That's been sitting there for a while. Holy shit. Not a tasty to be real with you. You are
really more blowing out your mic than anything else.
Yeah, unfortunately, my mic ain't that great anymore, so that's just that's gonna how it be. Unless I decide to gargle razor blades, I don't think I'll be able to properly get the tonnage required to
I'm
do
sure At and I are ready for you to make that sacrifice.
Yes.
that. Okay, I see. I'm glad to see that you guys are supporting me in my dream.
Of what? Becoming a deadbeat?
I mean, if you want to support that, I'm okay with that too.
Okay, for the record, I was referring to it in the traditional sense, not you simping for Callie.
I was not referring to simping for Callie either.
Okay, but Siki, you realize for that to happen, that means you have to find a girl
Mm.
and then trick her into having sex with you.
Mm. I'll see the difficult part here. Dude, I literally dodged the harem route, okay? I somehow feel like accidentally into someone's bed. The most difficult part is gonna be me. Not the girl. Or the sex. Just throwing that out there. Anyway, so Emiya succeeds in saving everyone. And to accomplish this, I made some changes. He lived in the 1st century Britannia! Are you fucking shitting me, author? And the most obvious virus.
I think the tequila shots might be having an effect there, boy.
Nope, that's just how he spelled it. Obvirus.
Ah, I see. I think I can be forgiven for that mistake.
And the most obvious, his name is Finn. The only reason for his name being Finn was because his name being Shiro and him being British made no sense. But him being black and British in the 1st century of Britannia totally makes sense. Okay, author. All right. Sure. And hey, look, Max, good news.
Yeah.
And no, Zelrich is not involved.
All right. Okay, good.
If that
It's a
was
bloody
true,
first.
he would be named Shiro still.
Not worth it.
If you want to talk about legal vacuum, you can think of the King of Fakers as the Fate Grand Order Shiro.
Negative, Ghost Rider.
No, his name is Muramasa, and he was known about for at least a few months before you made your first story, mate.
Because he
So-
hasn't shown up in Fate Grand Order yet, and I doubt he ever will. Profile updated February 21st, 2021.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Could you repeat that?
It's never. Oh, not only did he show up, he quickly became everyone's favorite grandpa.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay.
They might only be playing the English version?
This is not a completely original idea.
Oh,
No shit! You don't fucking say, author. Since there are other stories in this site that are about something similar, but to my knowledge, there isn't any story with Shiro being in Britain in the first century.
Well,
Usually, he is sent to the time of King Arthur, Gilgamesh, or Jeanne d'Arc.
gonna be honest, I'd like to see those stories to see how horribly they flub it.
Well, the one where he goes to King Arthur, Fate and Time, is actually pretty good, all things considered.
I'm
Gilgamesh,
enjoying Fate in Time.
Yeah. If Parcassius could turn down the purple prose a little bit and stop like taking 9 chapters to have Shiro walk down a road, that would be great. But otherwise, I'm enjoying the story.
What is it?
Yeah, I would say
Fate
if we
in
could get to the
Time?
violence and the tearing.
Yeah, Fate and Time. Unfortunately, Fate and Time was one of his flagship stories during his major Patreon arc, as I'm going to call it. And due to that, and due to it being
Would
so
you
popular,
call it a patriarch?
Yes. Due to that, he would extend each chapter. Like Shiro, like all that would happen in the story, plot wise, was Shiro walked down a road, but it would be about 6,000 words of purple prosed monologue, and that would be the chapter, because people were paying per chapter he uploaded, and you can tell when he originally started it, when the Patreon money kicked in, and when the Patreon money started leaving. Because people were like, hey, buddy, I know we're paying you per chapter, but if you don't knock this shit off, we're leaving. And he kept doing it, and so people started leaving. And he was like, oh no, I am losing all my money.
Surprise Pikachu face.
Yeah.
The thing I was doing that they said would cost me money has cost me money. Oh no!
The Gilgamesh one was also, I forget the exact name of the Gilgamesh one, but that one's actually also fairly decent. He's the twin brother of Gilgamesh. He was he ended up there because his soul got yeeted beyond time and space, and one of the gods that created Gilgamesh was like, yo, what up with this crazy ass like destroyed soul just floating here? And put them back together and was like, boom, you're going to be Gilgamesh's guardian, and your job is to die for Gilgamesh.
Also, possibly keep him from turning into a shit.
I can appreciate the fake gods being like, yo, this isn't normal. Let's poke it.
Yeah. The Jeanne d'Arc one, I don't think I've ever seen one that's purely him going back to Jeanne d'Arc. In the first place, I've seen a couple that had him ending up in Jeanne d'Arc's timeline, but only temporarily. So I can't really speak on that one too much. If you are here for a poll to decide which stories I update next, there is no need. It has become clear that y'all want Madness Empire Blade. Furthermore, the chapter in Espionage is already finished in Spanish, so all that's left is to translate. Oh, so he's Spanish. Got it. That explains why.
That explains several things.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, machine translation will do that.
Well, machine translation will correctly spell the word. It sounds a lot more like he's hand translating it all, because he's getting some words just completely incorrect, and not in a incorrect like this is in a machine translation getting it incorrect way. It's more like I sounded the word out loud and tried to write it how it sounds. Like, obvirus. Pronounced obvious, but
that or
he
you had
spelled it
someone translating.
obvirus.
Well, that or he could have had someone translating for him.
That's true.
In which case, still a mistake.
Or store I, where instead of story, he put an I there. And stuff like that. So it looks a lot more like a manual translation than a machine translation. By the way, if you haven't noticed, I included a description of Kingdom Faker's noble phantasm at the profile. Okay. So we got a whole profile bio now for King of Fakers so we can understand his elaborate stories.
He's a real OC now.
Please never say those words.
A little too painful.
You literally just said it while I was drinking.
Truly the best timing.
King of Fakers profile. General information. Identity. The King of Fakers. He is nameless. Region. Great Britain. Affiliation. The one true King of Britannia, but he doesn't admit it.
What does that even
I don't
mean?
know. Likes. Making people smile. Dislikes. People who treat people as tools. Meaningless death.
Oh, wait. Is he also going to
Oh.
like guns and sneakers?
Meaningless death. Archer Emia. Talents.
I mean, to be fair,
Swords.
now in this OC's defense, Archer Emia also dislikes Archer Emia.
Yes. Talents. Swords. Being dense. Being a harem protagonist. I'm not kidding, by the way. This is actually shit he has listed as him being a talent.
Not word for word, but you're not wrong.
Natural enemy of Gilgamesh.
Okay, so
What?
we can assume he still has the trace then.
Yeah, it's kind of the implied bit of King of Fakers.
Well, that and they literally are referred to as the natural enemy of Gilgamesh because they can meet him sword for sword.
Servant stats. Archer class. Type. Heroic spirit counter guardian hero.
Okay, so he's
Can we throw some more word salads in there? I mean, even more than Fate usually does.
Sure. How about his source of his power? His source of his power is him being the King of Fakers and saving everyone in existence. Hidden attribute. Star power. Armaments. The armor and cloak of the Divine family.
Sneaky. There's a hidden skill list, and he's fully shitposting with this character. Okay.
Master, Tosaka Rin, and Fior Forveg. Both of them? Oh,
Wait.
That's
Well, no, that's not Tosaka. That's Thosaka.
Oh, Thosaka. Yes, my bad. Rin's alternate twin, Thosaka.
How would Rin still be his master in any form?
I'm really not sure. Strength C parentheses plus. What? Endurance
Hold
B
on a minute.
minus.
Hold on a minute.
Okay,
They
he
got the
means for-
minus correct.
Yeah, this is what's really throwing me off. For some reason, pluses have to be in parentheses, but minuses are fine.
Pluses have to be spelled out. Don't you know this?
My bad.
Basic
Agility.
English language. Come on.
Agility B, mana B, luck E, NP, EX, class skills, independent action B, magical resistance B with his red cloak. Personal skills, clairvoyance C. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I looked at some of the extra skills, by the way.
Eye of the Mind True A+, Magecraft C+, Projection A+++. I'm fucking sorry, what? That's like what, 1,000, 10,000, that's like 100,000 times better than the average human at tracing?
No, hang on. Let's be fair here. His tracing actually should be EX because it's a unique version that only he can do. Because he was stupid and taught and
Yes,
trained himself. That's how it works.
That's my point, though, is like, that's the difference between EX and a stat, is that EX literally can't be managed. It can be anything from E to A.
Actually, no, it should be EX because he's the only person with this particular skill.
Yeah, I know, that's what I'm saying.
Oh.
What the author is saying, though, is everyone can project, except Shiro can do it 100,000 times better.
Which is incorrect.
Hidden skills. Density. Eroge protagonist. Noble Phantasms, Unlimited Blade Works, rank E2EX. EX isn't. Ah!
Okay, so while there are like moments where stats can go anywhere from like one stat to another, it's
Yeah.
very rare for there to be one that goes from like C to EX. And it's
It's
very
literally
situational.
impossible because that's saying it's like, oh yeah, well you know you have your sedan, your pickup truck, your compact car, and you know your main battle tank. It's like, wait, hold on a second, wait,
I mean,
wait.
have you seen the Tesla car? That may as well be an MBT, Sneaky.
It's like, okay, hold on a second. The main battle tank is no what the main battle tank? Oh no, see, no, this isn't a normal main battle tank. This is a main battle tank with 2 rocket thrusters strapped onto it, a laser assault chain gun, and energy shield. It's like, wait, what? Wait, why is it in the same category as the sedan?
Oh well, because the Vanu make all their vehicles float, and the sedan also floats.
Yeah, of course, my bad.
Fucking
Nameless Sword of
pictures.
Promised Salvation. EX. The Nameless Sword. Okay. Okay.
No. Just no.
No. Yes, I see my voice is so beautiful that it stunned them all.
So I would just like to point out that the Nameless Sword of Salvation is not nameless. Because it was not created by humans. It was created by the Fae, who named it and gave it to the humans. So it can't be nameless. Aria Normal Version. The version that appears in Rin's dream. Literal English / Japanese date density.
Oh, I think the author's dumb and means date of destiny. Or possibly date of
No,
destiny.
I think he's
No,
trying to play
Date
on words.
is one of his fan fictions.
Yeah.
It's in his list.
Nameless Sword of Promised Salvation. The actualization of the King of Fakers' ideals crystallized into a hope and dream of all people that he ever saved, forged into a sword.
Yeah. So I was gonna say that doesn't sound like Excalibur because Excalibur is supposed to be the sword of promised victory.
Fair enough. That's true. You're actually right. Yeah. Still, I think this is completely retarded. As no one has ever seen the sword, it was never given a name.
So no one knows he has it, not even he himself. Got it.
After the King of Fakers managed to accomplish the impossible feat of saving everyone in existence, the sword reaches its full potential.
Oh, so he still hasn't saved everyone. Okay.
No. This is no. He did. He did. After he did it, the sword reached its full potential. So apparently, it was crystallizing in his reality marble since he ever started saving people, and then once he saved everyone, it fully crystallized into a sword or something. Since it now carries the hopes and dreams of existence, becoming the ultimate conceptual weapon to save, with its objective of being save everyone, and no matter if the chances are very small or even close to zero. Oh boy, close to zero. The sword will be able to save them. I'm a little bit confused here. So what if you have someone who is going to have a miscarriage? The baby is not removed from the mother, but the baby will die if it's removed from the mother. How exactly do you go about saving them?
Something. Magic fixes everything.
Yeah, I'm gonna be disgruntled on that just in general.
I mean, you're allowed to be as gruntled or disgruntled as you please, but
As the sword reached the unreachable utopia.
also I do want to point out it is literally like there are some people that he would not be able to save.
Yeah.
Like, because if nothing else, there would be people who do not wish to be, right? This sounds corny, but there'd be people who do not wish to be saved.
Oh, yeah, I know.
So, ipso facto, you can't save everyone.
Yeah.
But what if... Hold on, hear me out here. What if you killed everyone who didn't want to be saved? Then everyone left alive can be saved.
That's true, but the sword specifies he has to save everyone.
That's true. Fair enough, he didn't... That's true. Yep.
There's like... right, and here's the problem. This is the Fate verse. There is no hyperbole.
Yeah.
Like, the sword of promised victory is
so
just
it gets
that.
worse, by the way. In case you were wondering. It gets worse.
How? Because
the sword reached the unreachable utopia, an image of it lies in Avalon now.
Does this mean Merlin can grab it and save himself?
Apparently. Also, I love how apparently no one's ever seen it, but it also is in Avalon.
Which means at least one...
That means at least all of the fairies have seen it by now.
Listen, obviously no one important.
Fairies aren't people,
clearly.
But you know who is a person?
Fairies aren't people.
Merlin.
Woof. And the sword obtained the properties of the ever-distant utopia, and its light now has the same healing properties as the sheath of Avalon, making it heal the King of Fakers. And it makes him completely unreachable by the 5 true magics.
Oh, I see.
Okay. You know what?
The sword is capable of defeating primate murder. And has properties that make it capable of fighting every other beast of Gaia and winning. But it is not a perfect noble phantasm.
You know,
you sure fucking
it can lose to edgy teenagers.
I might have given the author just a point or two if they'd gone full board. It's like, listen, if this is a conceptual weapon that its concept is literally saving everyone, then it should be a perfect thing.
Yep.
You should have just stuck to it.
You shouldn't have tried to unmarry Suet. Or Gary Stewart, as the case may be.
And I'll give him this at least. Going with the idea of it has to be a conceptual weapon to achieve its goal, that, you know what, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
That's a common thing in Fate. But someone needs to sit him down and explain to him that there's a big struggle of the internal paradox of you want to be a hero that saves everyone.
Yeah.
Like, that's actually a really important discussion that Shiro himself, at least in the visual novel, does a great job talking with himself. Like, I know it's impossible, but I have to try. Like,
well, not only that,
there's
another big defining moment, I believe, that shows up in at least one route, where he realizes that to save someone, they need to be in danger.
Yeah, no, he does. That's pointed out by Archer to him. And we have a moment of like, I realized that I've known it for a long time, but I didn't. He didn't want to think too hard on it.
Yeah.
He's aware of the paradox in almost every aspect because he's had a long time to think about it.
Anyway, so it's not a perfect weapon. It has a flaw due to its owner's distorted mentality. The only person the sword can't save is the King of Fakers.
It can't save
Wait.
Shiro
Well,
himself.
then it can't save everyone. Then
Wait.
it's a failed concept.
Therefore, its healing effects are degraded when used on the King of Fakers. Wait, hold on. Earlier, its light has the same healing properties, and it heals the King of Fakers and makes him unreachable by the 5 true magics. Later on, the sword itself cannot heal Shiro. Which one is it, author? Either the sword
there
can
would be
save him, or it can't.
Oh, no. Okay, the sword can't save him. It does say the healing is degraded, but the problem is that it's not the whole it heals him thing that bothers me. It's makes him unreachable. So you got a lot of conflicting information happening here, and Sneaky's just pinpointing the weird issues that don't matter in a couple spots. But it's really a talent with you. I really wish he'd just gone full on Gary Stu with this sword. Like, he should have just gone full bore. He really should have. Because this is annoying. This is annoying trying to piece together what the fuck he's trying to say.
So, from what we got here, so we got a series of stories from this guy, that look to all be completed, or mostly completed, that go in a line. So it starts with King of Fakers saving them all. In an alternate timeline, there was one person who pursued the exact same ideals as Shiryo Emiya long before he did. This is the story of the hero who will be named the King of Fakers, and his journey to save everyone. Which is followed by Fate's Day Night King of Fakers route. In his quest to find Catalyst to summon most powerful hero, Tosaka Tokomini found by chance Catalyst related to Nameless Hero. In a time later, his daughter would use the Catalyst without realizing it, dragging the King of Fakers into the Holy Grail War. We will see how he fares with a tsundere and a boy with very similar origins and equally idealistic. So I really don't understand how this character can hate Archer if he's never met Archer, considering he replaced Archer in the only story that's Fate's Day Night.
Yeah, well, the other thing is that he's gonna be a real bad influence on Shiro.
Yes, very much so. And so then that follows up with the story we were previously trying to read, which was which we're not going to bother now, because we spent an hour on his profile, which was the
we've been getting the cliff notes.
Pretty much, yeah. Similar ideas, different methods, which is then followed by, it looks like, let's see, published November 11th, 2019, published November 28th, 2019. Data density, and data density is after similar ideas, different methods. Without knowing how, and with fuzzy and confusing memories, the King of Fakers now ends up in a world that's not his. Now the EX rank density is facing something he never imagined. A dominant little sister.
That has to do with Data Live's story. It's very fucking weird.
And now he has to go on dates with girls who have powers on the level of heroic spirits to save them all, but he still has E rank luck.
Yeah, it's just Data Live's story.
And then there's the final one, which was recently completed in the series. In the second singularity of the human order, Lev Linner tried to yeet the Roman Empire, but in this timeline, Shiro was still alive, also known as the King of Fakers, and the King of Fakers will now work with Chaldea to prevent the human order from being incinerated, and he will save everyone again.
You know, it'd be cool if it was as simple as like, oh, hey, you're saving humanity? Yeah, okay, let me just pull out my sword.
Yo! Yeet!
Yeah, see, so this is an author that clearly didn't understand the philosophical implications involved in everyone's weird little eroge, and then proceeds to not understand why creating a conceptual weapon that saves everyone fixes every problem and removes the need for crossovers, because Chaldea would never even need to be created.
Yes.
Because the sword would have already promised salvation
Yes.
the moment it was first manifested.
Yep. And by the fact that apparently Shiro is alive during the Roman Empire, it's a, I don't know, like the first century of Britannia is like what, 1000 AD, around there. Like Britannia wasn't a thing for quite a while afterwards. So I don't know what this guy's what King of Fakers is doing alive during the Roman Empire.
He got bored. Wanted to go see.
Just went back and just walked back in time, casual like. So speaking of which, while you were talking, Max, my brain decided to come up with a far more entertaining idea than this author's entire existence. And that's literally just Shiro at some point discovered hot stepping, the dance style.
Okay.
And proceed to learn that instead of shit like cooking and whatnot. And the Holy Grail War comes around, and for whatever reason, all of the heroes are going into dance-offs with him instead of fighting him.
Archer Imia is very confused. Archer Imia has attacked itself in confusion.
Effectively, except also Shiro's dressed like Guzma from Pokemon.
Oh, good.
As he should be.
Fantastic. I love it.
And I was just like, wow, Brain, thanks for that completely nonsensical, beyond retarded idea. I love it so much more than this.
I have a non sequitur. Brain, I have a non sequitur for you. No, I don't want a non sequitur.
Oh, God. It's just like, and my brain also played a montage of all of the heroes doing various, what's the dance moves that you do on the cardboard box in the back alley? What's that called? Breakdancing, yes, breakdancing. All of the heroes are doing various breakdancing moves, including Hercules and shit. Medusa's
I mean,
doing
Hercules would be one of the most impressive breakdancers. Have you seen that man's strength and agility?
Fair enough, I'll give you that. Still, it's a great mental image. I wholeheartedly encourage everyone to just sit here and process the mental image of the Fate Stay Night cast doing various breakdancing moves in a random back alley while all dressed as hip hoppers. In Japan. Oh, God. But anyway, yeah, so we're going to mark this story as covered, so we'll never read it accidentally again.
Okay, but like, Sneaky, come
Hmm. And oh boy. Uh-oh. Beep boop. It all broke down. That's interesting. So
what does
that
breakdancing Hercules look like?
Breakdancing Hercules? Oh, that's unfortunate. That's okay, so that's really weird. So it's, for some reason, my Discord is freezing, but the bot that is not on my Discord, that is on my Discord, but it's not on my computer on my Discord, is also displaying my Discord freezing instead of displaying things normally. That is just really weird. Like, that is genuinely weird. Like, how, like, you know, can I like, open up one of these things here and go beep boop lol lol. Okay, so for some reason opening a fanfiction tab can do that. Can't, however, load a Google page. That is very interesting. Alright, oh, okay, and Chrome is crashing. Trying to exit tab. And, okay. So we're just going to keep going while they can't stop me. And we're going to go to this story next. This is Naruto, the Altered History. Meet Uzumaki Naruto, the #1 prankster ninja. He lives in Konoha, and he has a dark secret. So large that nobody knows. Not even Naruto. Now, this story has a massive, whopping 5,000
We can hear you.
favorites and 323,000 words, with 32 chapters, putting each chapter around 10k words. That's pretty impressive to start off with. And it's also a completed story, which gives me both hope and horror, because the story was completed back in 2006, and the final chapter was posted in 2008, which is around 5 years before the Naruto manga finished itself, I believe. About 5 or 7 years, actually. So quite a bit of time. Quite a bit of time.
We
Hello?
hear you over Sneaky.
What? I can hear you guys again, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh.
There once.
Sure does like being weird.
Yeah, you know, I would really like some help with this issue, but no one seems really keen on helping me. So
what? How are we supposed to help you?
I'm not saying that you. I'm just saying in general. I've posted to Reddit. I've posted to Tom's Hardware. Posted to the 7 forums. I've posted to other websites at this point as well, and no one seems really keen on helping me. There once appeared a 9-tailed demon fox. One swing of its mighty tail could crumble mountains and create tsunamis, which was for some reason capitalized. To fight the demon, the people assembled the shinobi, but only one could stand against the demon. Max, correct me if I'm wrong, but it actually just feels like it's ripping off the narrative intro from one of the Naruto games.
Pretty sure that was one of the Ultimate Ninja Storm games. That,
Yeah.
or that was just straight up in the anime.
I'm gonna go with the Ninja Storm game. Fucking tasty. Delicious. The air was dry. Heavy, almost. With unnatural heat. It was heat that had baked the ground solid and almost turned it to glass. It never faded. That's not how... Okay. It felt as if it was attempting to consume the landscape with a relentless hunger. What? Who was feeling like this now? The heat? The heat felt like it was trying to eat you. Okay.
Hey man, he'd get hungry sometimes.
In the distance, the heated nighttime air was filled with hoarse shouts. They seemed to grow closer for a moment, then faded away, leaving only a silent void with nothing but the unbearable heat. This was the world the Yodime awoke to. His body stiff and sore, he could taste the copper of his own blood, and his mind could only struggle in attempt of rational thought. You know, that's something I've never quite understood. Copper tastes a lot different from iron, and
Yeah,
blood
like
definitely
it's
tastes
iron.
Yeah, the blood definitely tastes like iron. I don't know why people, and this is a thing I've even seen in published books. I don't know why people refer to it as copper tasting. Like, it does not taste like copper. I don't
Under
know.
no circumstances has it ever tasted like copper.
I mean, I know. I'm also aware there is copper in your blood. That's all. That's the thing. Just there should be a lot more iron. He wasn't finished yet. This thought was galvanized by the feel of the bundle in his arms moving. He had to get up. He had to. Biting his lip to keep from screaming at the pain he was placing on his already taxed body, he rose shakily to his feet. It had been so painful, almost murder to use that jutsu. But he couldn't think about that. He held the still moving but silent bundle in his arms, tightly forcing his way upright. Stumbling, he almost collapsed as one of his legs tried to give out. But his fanatical fanatically devotion? Yeah, okay. But his fanatically devotion to protect the village allowed him to force his way through the pain.
Okay.
Alright. He scanned the world around him, swaying, and wondered if the village would ever recover. He could see...
Just not much of a hidden village if it couldn't recover from a little kaiju attack.
Fair enough. He could see the shattered walls of the village. Nobody was moving near them. Fear would be rampant, and now was his chance to protect the village. He stumbled forward, struggling to maintain his balance and keep from dropping the precious bundle in his arms. He almost collapsed, but managed to reach the hole where he fell forward, thankfully managing to brace himself with one hand. He didn't have long. He had to hurry, but his chakra, it was almost gone. He could feel the god of death's cold fingers digging deeper into his soul. A hacking cough raked his body, followed by a spray of dark blood. See, that's another thing I've always never really liked about Hollywood and its influence on visual media. Pretty much everyone these days goes with the person's dying, so they're coughing up blood for some reason. It's like, oh yeah, they've been shot in the leg, they're coughing up blood. You know, it's like, bruh, come on, please. The only time you would ever really be coughing up blood is if you were shot in the throat or the lung. And you really wouldn't have time to give a speech or a sermon about how with your death, the people will not give up because the people are strong together. And he sees the day, Ave Kaiser, yada yada. So anyway, let's see. Could he do it? No, he had to. If anyone found him now with the baby, he couldn't let it happen. He had to do something. He couldn't let them know. And he felt several ninja approaching at high speed, not for him, but for the fallen shinobi around him. They would find him if he stayed longer, but honestly, he didn't know how much chakra he had left. He could die at any moment, and he had to ensure he was finished before then. His only chance was to gamble his life, the baby in his arms, his life, and the Konoha future. Yodime didn't see any other option, however. He would use Haraishin no Jutsu. Closing his eyes, he concentrated, struggling to separate the hundreds of different locations from the one he needed. Yeah, kind of regretting that now, aren't you? Finding it, he started molding all of his remaining chakra, praying that this would work. One minute he was propped up against the shattered wall, and the next he was sprawling across the shattered pavement in front of the shattered, darkened hospital. Suddenly the baby started crying, making an unholy racket. The Yodaime coughed, the cold fingers of Shinigami-sama tightening around his throat. Placing his palm against the ground, he leveraged himself upwards, blood splattering the ground as he stumbled back to his feet, forcing his way through the cracked glass of the shattered hospital, his eyes darting all around disorientated. Stumbling, he started towards a set of damaged stairs, almost collapsing. He managed to keep his balance and reached the nearly empty hallway, almost collapsing once more. He couldn't fall yet, just a little more, a little more! His mind was already crumbling, but he couldn't stop. He had something important to do. Forcing the door open, he stumbled into the dark room filled with crying babies. Finally, he could. Stumbling to an empty crib, he managed to release the child, ignoring the blood streaks on the boy's face. The child would be safe now, safe. Yodaime-sama. At that shout, his legs gave out and he collapsed to his knees, staring up the terrified-looking nurse. She seemed so far away, but she was getting closer, reaching out for him. But Yodaime pulled away. Please help me. What, the Kyuubi? Dead. Please help me. The nurse nodded cautiously, kneeling in front of him. What? Just. One brave shinobi was able to seal up the demon, but he lost his life. That shinobi was called the Yodaime Hokage. Not interested in this story.
Nah.
No,
Pass.
looks.
So, I'm going to point out the obvious here. So clearly what the author is going for here is that instead of him being discovered and him telling Hiruzen to let everyone know the boy is the hero and the Kyuubi is sealed in him, he instead runs to the hospital and deposits the baby in the hospital and then dies and doesn't tell anyone about Naruto holding the Kyuubi.
Yeah, it does the smart thing. Technically.
Which, honestly, I'm 50-50 about, because, again, Naruto is a nuclear bomb.
Oh, yeah, no, like, the way Kishimoto had it written definitely didn't make sense in retrospect.
Yeah. And so I wouldn't really hide a nuclear bomb in a village, hoping that no one accidentally set off the nuclear bomb before the nuclear bomb realized they were a nuclear bomb.
Don't
Yeah.
forget, by the way,
Oh.
don't forget, Sneaky, you're hiding it in a child.
Yeah, right, my bad.
Yeah,
Just
when was
to
this
crank
story?
the Geneva Convention violations
When
up
was
a
this
notch.
story published?
2006.
Okay, that explains a lot then.
Yes. That's what that's what I was saying earlier, where because it's 2006, there's a lot missing between that point in time when he first published the story and when the series ended. So there's going to be a lot of AU, a lot of author conjecture, headcanon going on. But generally, I'm just not interested in the story because the premise isn't it's not catching me. So the author actually is. I'll give kudos where kudos are due. The author tried to do a hook chapter. He tried to do a hook prologue, in where he's trying to lay out subtly what's going on in the story without having the characters explain it all. So props where props are due. But I'm just not interested. Like, is that really all your story has going for it? Naruto never learned he's the Kyuubi and no one else did either? That's really all you have going for it? It's like, okay, I guess. So Naruto's not going to get completely isolated and he'll just be a normal orphan. Hiruzen might figure out that it's the Yodaime's kid because, the Yodaime died in front of the kid. The kid was covered in blood, So, he's a fucking smart guy, so he'll probably go, oh man, that was probably the Yodime's kid. I should probably protect him a little bit.
Oh, and what's that weird, like, seal on the kid's stomach?
That's one of the better lines I've walked in on. What? Shoving the nuclear bomb inside a baby? Yeah, it's a skill. It's a skill Atin and I have honed over the years of saying the most ridiculous line possible when people join. We've made Max leave before.
Yeah, there have been times when Max joins in and then just goes, nope, don't know what's going on here.
But I don't want to. But yeah, so anyway, point being is that he's probably still going to get a little special treatment, so he's not going to get kicked out of the orphanage. How much Hiruzen can figure out is really 50-50. He puts a lot of stock and faith in the Yodime. So if Yodime says, Kyuubi's dead, I killed it, and then he dies himself, Hiruzen would probably, at first at least, go like, okay, Minato says he killed it, so I guess he's dead. But it's I don't know. I feel like there's not much going on for this story. Because there's like, where's the conflict going to come from? So Naruto isn't going to be, ostracized from his peers for being the Kyuubi, and everyone knows that, and so all the parents tell him to fuck off from that kid. But, he's still going to be an orphan, or theoretically he's still going to be an orphan since we don't know if he gets adopted or not. But I can only assume that he is still going to be an orphan, specifically because Hiruzen would, likely figure out that he's the Yodime's kid and be like, alright, so no one is allowed to adopt the Yodime's kid. Because, political credit and whatnot. He'd just be like, alright, everyone's got to fuck off from this one. So, assumedly he would still be some form of orphan. Maybe, living alone. Maybe got an Anbu guard or something. But he wouldn't be ostracized because of the Kyuubi, but he would still be ostracized because he's Naruto. Like, you can make the argument that the reason why he acts the way he does in canon is because of how he grew up. But what happened when the mother met Naruto? You act exactly as I did when I was your age. So, if you want to roll with that angle, that means Naruto was always going to be some flavor of obnoxious brat, who still isn't going to quite get social situations because again he's going to be an orphan. So he's going to be a little bit weird. He's going to be really hyper, energetic. So maybe he'll make a couple friends, but he's going to be the weird one in the class. And he's not going to have the best social skills, and he's still going to be obnoxious, and he's still going to be hyper, and, he's still going to get made fun of by his peer group. And,
yeah.
And he'll still be like, I want to be the Hokage, because the Hokage is going to be nice to him, because he's the Hokage, the previous Hokage's son, and, he feels some sort of kinship between that. And so nothing's really going to change. Except for people being marginally less shitty to him. And I'm really not sure you can base a story off of the idea of people being marginally less shitty to Naruto.
Well, the other thing is, right, he's not going to magically get, right, the things that plagued him in the show are not going to magically stop plaguing him.
Right.
He's not going to suddenly become a chakra control master. He's not going to suddenly be more likely to have an amazing focus, right?
Right, yeah, exactly. He's still going to do bad in school, not because the teachers are sabotaging him, which, that's all fanon, by the way. We've never actually had any canon confirmation that any of the teachers actually sabotaged him. He was just annoying in class, didn't pay attention, was hyperactive, constantly, forgot any of the shit he did pay attention to, because he's got ADHD.
Likely, yes. Very likely.
And so if it didn't pertain to anything that he was specifically interested in, he just didn't pay attention. And he was always thinking about other shit. And so the teachers would yell at him, and then they wouldn't help him because he was an obnoxious brat in class. And then he would fall behind. And because he fell behind, he just wouldn't pay attention even more because he's like, well, I'm already behind. I don't fucking care. I'm going to go think about this other thing anymore. They're just going to yell at me anyway. And so it's like that none of that's going to change. Like, he's not going to magically be better at anything. So the author is really not selling me on the idea of it's Naruto, but people were marginally more nice to him. Not only that, one of the first problems ever, the second problem too, as well, was solved by Naruto getting this ostracization from the village for being the Kyuubi's container. Like, that's how he got through to Haku. That's how he got through to Gaara. It's because he understood where their lives came from. And so he's not going to have that background now, so he's not going to be able to get through to Gaara, and he's not going to be able to get through to Haku.
Well, he might be able to get through to Gaara.
Not
still.
really.
Oh, your mom died. I'm sad. Like, you're sad because your parents are dead.
No,
Like,
Gaara is
might.
sad for so many other reasons.
Well, yes. I'm saying there are things Naruto might be able to get through on. Like, it's possible, but much less likely.
But still, it's just like there's so much going on that it's just like literally nothing changes. Literally nothing changes, and I'm not sure why this is even a story. Like, I commend the author for writing 3 books worth of it. I commend the author for sticking with it for, 2 whole years of updates. And 5,000 people have favored this story, so it's passable according to some people. But I just don't see it. I just don't see it. I don't know why you would waste time reading this sort of story. It's literally just Naruto, but people are nice to him at the start a little bit more. But actually in the same thread as this general story is a topic I was talking about on another fanfiction server of the trends of Worm and Harry Potter crossovers. And where all of them take this really weird trope, fanon trope, effectively, I guess, and where Taylor somehow ends up, usually post Golden Morning, in Harry Potter Magical Britain for some reason, and for some reason she either has magical powers and she's an adult, or she has magical powers and she's a kid, or she has magical powers and she's a teenager, and for some reason having a shard grants her magic, except everyone in the wizarding world actually doesn't have shards. They all just have normal magic, but her shard grants her magic and shard powers. Like, that's the typical trope. And I got into a massive argument over it because I just don't understand where people are coming from with it.
Well, and there's no case where a shard ever gave someone multiple powers.
No, there were packages. So
Yeah, I guess you're right.
that's why oftentimes it was just power. There were oftentimes like, what's your power set? Because people could have multiple rankings of like, you're a brute 3 and a thinker 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's true, but usually it's all based off of some idea, quote unquote, some idea, according to Wildbow. But even he doesn't know his own system. So I'm not really sure how many principles of physics you can use to say someone is both physically, impervious, capable of flight, and has super intelligence. I'm really not sure how many single laws of physics you can abuse to create that outcome. But
Sneaky,
whatever.
clearly the person we should be asking is Todd Howard.
Yes, of course, my bad. But anyway, so this is a common trope, and it really just really makes me scratch my head on it because it's boring as shit. Honestly, it really is. But not only is it boring as shit, it really doesn't make sense at all as to why the fusion world would happen in the first place, because that's what it usually ends up being. It usually ends up being a fusion world. Um, and on top of all of that, to make it even bigger shit sandwich, um, when they do make it a fusion world, or the shards are aware of magic for some inexplicable reason, um, for some reason the shards just leave the magical world alone, like completely, until Taylor starts interacting with it. They just for some reason leave the magical world completely alone until then, and it's just like, why would you do that?
Just never noticed it. They've never hit a wizard before.
Of course, yeah.
Somehow.
But and so I got into this massive argument with this dipshit, I guess you could say, who was insisting that the entities were these like super calculating masterminds who were hyper efficient and only took the steps required to get to their goals and whatnot.
So it's trying to say they all had path to victory.
Well, I mean, they did, technically speaking, but
Okay.
path to victory didn't work on the goal they were trying to go to. Like, they could be like, all right, what is steps to get to the next populated planet? Path to victory works on that. The problem is that path to victory operates off of predictions by creating simulated universes with previously obtained information, simulating the whole thing. Like, what if I take a left here? What if I take a right here? And then going off of all of that information, it then returns back the one set of chain of events that they need to do to get the result they wanted. That's what Path to Victory is. It's not actually a, like, I win.
So, Coil's power on steroids.
Yeah, effectively, yes. Effectively, yes. And from that, the problem is the entities are trying to solve for infinity. That is the goal of their entire species. Is they are trying to solve for infinity so they can figure out a way to put in 1 unit of energy and get 100.01% energy back. And that's what their whole goal is. That's why they're annihilating civilizations in a massive dimensional genocide, is because they are trying to use these more primitive civilizations who have a more rudimentary train of thought that kind of just jumps instead of being iterative. They're trying to use these leaps of logic from other civilizations to fill in the gaps of what they couldn't figure out by just brute force calculations. Because they calculated how long it would take for them to figure out infinity by just brute forcing the calculation, by trying literally every single outcome and every single variable and every single number and creating new numbers to try. And it turns out it would take too long to calculate for infinity, and heat death would kill them.
Okay, so basically, this guy you're arguing with is a fucking moron.
Yes.
Who would tell an author that they're wrong, their
Yes.
character is obviously this instead of this.
Yes. And
Okay.
The entire argument was around how I kept saying that the entities were brute force computers. They were semi-sentient brute force computers who really didn't know what they were doing beyond go to planet, distribute powers, record outcome, destroy planet, go to next planet, distribute powers, record outcome, go to next planet.
Yeah, that.
And that's what they did. And he's like, no, they're clearly super masterminds that planned out everything. And the reason why they don't interact with magic until now is because magic is a new variable, and so thus they need to make a control network to set up control tests so they can separate it from the humanity tests. I'm like, that makes no sense. A, they wouldn't do that. B, they would brute force it by just distributing powers. C, that's implying only one single dimension AU of infinite Earths has magic. D, on top of all of this, you're implying that entities who do not know anything about the species of the planet they are landing on until they land on that planet would not see magical humans and just go, this is just another subspecies of the main sentient species. Just like how the electric eel is a subspecies of eels that can just create lightning. You know? Like, no other eel can do this. This eel, this specific eel, electricity. And you're telling me it would encounter the eel and be like, oh man, gotta separate this electric eel from every other eel because this is a special eel and we've never encountered this before, so we're just not gonna do tests on it. No. I'm sorry, but no. And that's what it was. At the end of the day, I ended up winning the argument because all of his arguments just ended up proving me correct. So either the entities are super smart and they would test magic, or the entities are super dumb and are just brute forcing everything and would test magic. But that brings me back to what I started talking about the whole time, was someone came up with an idea on this server for a Harry Potter worm crossover involving Taylor that was a fusion world of a sort that isn't part of that normal trope of Taylor just ending up in the magical world and for some reason having magical powers for no apparent reason. And that was that Taylor is actually a character in Harry Potter who gets dosed with some experimental potion and imagines the entirety of Worm happening, with her as the main character. And at the end of the Worm, she wakes up and has all of these like half-remembered memories from Worm. And my point with that whole story was there was no conflict. What kind of conflict would come out of this? Okay, so she had a bunch of really shitty dreams, you know. Maybe she gets a little bit paranoid, but they were dreams. So I'm really not sure what the impetus of this story is. You know, and it's the same thing for what we just read with the fanfiction. I'm just vamping because I didn't want to read another story, but we also have like 12 minutes left. And it's just like at the end of the day, it's like what's the point of this story? It's like, I get it, fanfiction, anything can happen, but what's the point of the story? Like, you tell me, guys. Story, it has no meaning. It's just a bunch of fucking words. Well, it's like my sister, when she would take 2 hours to tell you how she said hi to her friend today. Like, wow, amazing, fantastic story. Can't believe you wasted 2 hours of my life telling me this. But, it's just fucking like, sometimes stories aren't meant to be told. Not because they're bad, but because there's no point to them.
And no one cares.
Exactly.
What if your story wasn't bad? We just didn't
Can
care.
we all just go to the AU where your story wasn't written?
Sneaky begins killing all humans to find the one universe where no bad fanfiction exists.
Yes. I must eliminate all humans now. I've realized my true life goal. I am Skynet.
I mean, well, A, you're not that smart.
Fair. Fair. But, so, we're about 20 minutes out. Is there any shit you guys want to talk about? Ruby and whatnot, the new episodes of Ruby that are absolute fucking garbage?
Nah, I think I'm gonna go get dinner.
That's fair enough.
I'll catch on those eventually.
Yeah, you do that, Maxie. You do that. So anyway, we're gonna cut this episode a little bit short and release you all into the grand wide wilds, because, no one's fucking here, so why does it fucking matter? Yeah, we'll see you guys all on Fridays, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m., because there is always more, and it always gets worse.